Well, it is now time for our most prestigious award. We hand out this award every single year at the Humanist Report, and let's just go through, the history of the THR awards and see who was able to win the coveted MVP award each year. So, in 2015, the very first year when we launched the podcast, the winner was Bernie Sanders. In 2016, our second annual Humanist Report Awards, the winner was Bernie Sanders. In 2017, the third annual Humanist Report Awards, can you guess? It was Bernie Sanders. Now, of course, Bernie Sanders made the list of nominees. It wasn't even a question. It was a no-brainer. And really, there were two nominees I selected, Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. That was really the no-brainers. The other two that I struggled with were who would be third and fourth on my list of nominees. And I went with Christine Blasey Ford as number 3 because I don't think what she did and the power that had can be understated, because think about this. She had nothing to gain and everything to lose by coming forward and allowing Americans to hear the truth about Brett Kavanaugh. And she's still paying the consequences of her action till this day because she can't come home. She's facing death threats. She's had to move multiple times. I really commend her, and I think that was a pretty bold move. So that's why she's definitely a nominee. And the last nominee for me is the Sunrise Movement protesters, and this really came out of nowhere. They got on my radar a couple of weeks ago when they protested in Nancy Pelosi's office and demanded action when it comes to climate change, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez joined them, but they haven't stopped since then. They've been going to the offices of lawmakers, prominent lawmakers, Frank Pallone, I believe Steny Hoyer, Nancy Pelosi again, and they are not backing off when it comes to the issue of climate change. And I find that so commendable and inspirational. But with that being said, my top two nominees, of course, are Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Now, as for who's my number one, I actually don't know. Between Bernie and AOC, I honestly can't really choose. I mean, on one hand, I want to choose Bernie because Bernie Sanders is the one who inspired a politician like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in the first place. But on another hand, it's people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez that is breathing new life into the progressive movement and energizing us. So I don't know who to choose. And still, till this day, I don't know who the fuck to pick. But here's one thing that's really interesting about this category this year. For the first time in the history of the Humanist Report Awards, this is the first time that the hegemony of Bernie Sanders has been challenged, because he's been number one by far and away. It's been a landslide victory pretty much every time. But for the very first time, he got a run for his money by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So let's get to the results here. On Twitter, with a total of 535 votes, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wins with 52% of the vote. And Bernie Sanders kind of coming in a distant second here with 37%. We have the Sunrise Movement in third place with 6%, and Christine Blasey Ford in fourth place with 5%. Now, when you go to Patreon, the story's a little bit different. So, with 57 votes total, Bernie Sanders actually beat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. He came in first with 30 votes. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez came in fourth with 24 votes, and Christine Blasey Ford came in third with 2 votes, and with 1 vote, the Sunrise Movement came in fourth. And now, where it matters the most, where we have the most votes, our YouTube audience decided that the MVP for 2018 will, in fact, again, be Senator Bernard Sanders with 53% of the votes. He is your MVP again. AOC getting a pretty respectable 39% of the vote in second place. And then tying for third is Christine Blasey Ford and the Sunrise Movement. So these results are just fascinating to me. For AOC to get that big of a vote share is great. I'd like to see two progressives up there. And I know that some of you may feel a little bit hurt that someone like AOC, who's a newcomer, is taking so much of the vote share from Bernie. Not that we should take this award show that seriously, but the fact is that the more Bernie-type politicians we have, the better off we all are. Now, getting to the comments, Franz Ossie says, I would normally say Bernie, but Alexandria is the future and broke grounds with her upset against Joe Crowley and rapid upswing in popularity. Steady Mobbin says, it's always Bernie, man. I feel ya. Politically Engaged says, tough one. AOC plus Bernie. Join MVP. I would love that, but I kind of feel like that's cheating. Mike Pence's Cowboy Bulge. Wow, I can't believe I just read that name out loud when my mom will be watching this. Says, in all honesty, Bernie can get a Lifetime Achievement Award and AOC has plenty of time to make bigger waves. However, Christine Blasey Ford risked everything with no plans to get anything in return. She's an American hero. Let's give her her roses now. Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. Amanda Fairholt says, it's so hard to choose. I empathize with you 100%, Amanda. This was tough. Again, I still don't know who I pick. Do I pick Bernie or AOC? So, I mean, I don't have to pick. That's the good news. I pick my 4 nominees and you guys pick for me. But it's tough. But certainly for them to be at the top 2, it really is something that I do agree with. But certainly we've got to pay tribute to the others, as well as the honorable mentions. I mean, Ro Khanna, there's Pramila Jayapal, Sarah Smith. There's a lot of individuals that are worthy of this award. But for the most part, you guys chose the MVP, and now for the 4th year in a row, Bernie Sanders is the MVP at the Humanist Report Award show. It says something, man. Bernie Sanders has some staying power, and progressives still really love Bernie, and I don't blame you. I love Bernie too. So there you have it. This has been the Humanist Report Award Show. We just handed out our most prestigious award. So congratulations to the winners. Not all of you are winners. I'd argue that the scumbag category is a pretty bad category to win in, but nonetheless, this has been fun, and I truly enjoy this. I would highly encourage you to comment down below if you'd like to see new categories introduced next year, because this is coming back in 2019. Obviously, I love doing these award shows, and it seems like you guys like it too. So, there you have it. MVP, Bernie Sanders.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.